Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to my 2022 Top 10 Board Game Gift Guide. Unlike previous years, I'm only going to be doing this one video. I'm not going to be doing a smaller games and a bigger games one. Instead, just kind of combining it all together into one. But just like previous years, I'm going to be following pretty much the same rules that I have. These are my personal picks for great games that are good for pretty much any gamer that you might have on your list. And on top of that, these are games that have either recently been released and or recently updated in some way, plus they're relatively easy to get your hands on, and I try to get a good price range as well so that you're not hit too hard on the wallet regardless of what it is that you want to get for somebody. That said, there are plenty of wonderful games that have been released this year as well as in relatively recent past years, so there's plenty of gifts to go around. But like I said, these are my personal top 10. As always, I hope that you share your own picks down below in the comments, but with that, we're going to get started with my number 10. At number 10, I've got Dune Imperium. This is a great deck building / worker placement game that was relatively recently released and only now is relatively easy to get your hands on. The reason it's so far down on the list though is because it is Dune. The theme is very heavily ingrained inside of it, and if you're playing with people who aren't familiar with the franchise, then they might not enjoy it quite as much. That said, mechanically it's very stout, very strong, very good, and all in all, a great game. Dune Imperium, my number 10. At number 9, I've got Wingspan, the game that's all about attracting birds to your particular habitat with scientifically accurate drawings and actually some really great information in it. Now, this is a game that's been on my holiday list before, and that's part of why it's so low on the list. But it's on the list this year as well because of the Asia expansion. We've already seen the European expansion as well as Oceania, and so it's great to see more birds coming out. But the fact is that if you've got a gamer on your list who enjoys Wingspan, they probably already have a copy, but with Asia coming out, it might be a good time to get it for somebody who doesn't have it, or just get the Asia expansion for them. So with all that, Wingspan, my number 9. At number 8, I've got Spirit Island, the area control / co-op game that's all about you playing as spirits who are trying to fend off invaders from your island. It's a really fun concept, but the fact is that there's a few reasons it's so low on the list. First and foremost, it's a little bit older, and so it's easier to get, and most people will already have it if they want it. Secondly is my own personal bias, because it kicked Mage Knight off of the number 1 spot for solo games, and the fact is, though, that it's getting some expansions right now, which is very exciting. So all in all, it's a wonderful pick for people who don't have it. It's a great solo game, and so all in all, Spirit Island, my number 8. At number 7, I've got Turing Machine. This is a game that I talked about a while ago on my games that I was excited about, because this is all about analog computers and how they work and using old school punch cards and things like that. This is a brand new game, so it is possible to get. It is available on some websites like Amazon and Cool Stuff and stuff like that. But the thing is that it is relatively niche, similar to Dune Imperium, but even more so. This would really be appreciated by like computer science nerds and people like that, but the fact is that it seems like it's a wonderful game. I personally haven't played it, but I really want to, and it's got a great solo mode. It's got some really interesting mechanics. The fact that you're using logic and deductive reasoning and all of that kind of stuff is right up my alley as a game overall, but the thing is that it's definitely not for everybody, which is why it's lower on the list. All in all, Turing Machine, my number 7. At number 6, I've got Paleo, the 2021 winner of the Kennerspiel des Jahres award, which means that basically it's a really wonderful, relatively complex game. This is a good co-op game that is partially worker placement and partially resource management and a bunch of other things. Kind of think Dead of Winter, but in the prehistoric era. That's the general idea. Now, it is middle of the list here because it is a little bit older. A lot of people may have it, but the thing is that it has been really tough to get your hands on, and it's only relatively recently become more widely available. So I highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun. Again, it is cooperative. It does have a good solo mode on it as well, so it's a great pick for pretty much any gamer. Paleo, my number 6. At number 5, I've got Dinosaur World, the re-implementation of Dinosaur Island, and it seems to be following in the exact pattern as Jurassic Park, where we start with just an island and then we go to a world, and next we're gonna have like domination or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is. But that aside, the game is very well done. It's a worker placement, it's drafting, it's resource management, it's a lot of different things all combined together so that you can make essentially a dinosaur park. And you've got to build up the DNA and all that kind of thing. So it very much feels like Jurassic Park for those of you who are familiar with it. And on top of that, you get this really kind of cool, crazy neo-80s vibe off of it. It's a lot of fun. It's a good game. The Dinosaur World was just recently released, but Dinosaur Island is a little bit older, so if somebody already has that, they may not want to upgrade. And also, this is a very heavy strategy game. So if you're not somebody who's really into brain-burning type of games, it may not be for you or for the people you're buying for. But that said, Dinosaur World, for me personally, is my number 5. At number 4, I've got The Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is another game that was released a couple of years ago, but is only recently become more available because of manufacturing issues. This is a game similar to Dune Imperium in that you've got worker placement / deck building, but in the case of The Lost Ruins of Arnak, it's a lot more family friendly. It's a lot less brain burning, the decks stay small, you have more tactical decisions to perform luck mitigation, all of that kind of stuff. It is a wonderfully well rated game. It's won a lot of awards. It's just a great game overall. I highly recommend it. It has a great solo mode, all of that kind of stuff. Very good game, excellent for any gamer who doesn't have it because it's got something for everybody. Lost Ruins of Arnak, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Ark Nova, the game where you're trying to build out the best zoo through the use of the best animals, the best experts, the best buildings and enclosures, and everything that the animals need. I think it's wonderful because it teaches a good bit about things like conservation and about animals in general and all of that kind of thing. And on top of that, it's just a fun, well done mechanically game as well. This is also recently released earlier this year, so it can be a little bit tougher to get, and do be aware that it is a little bit more strategically heavy for anybody that you're buying for. If they aren't a big fan of strategically heavy games, and in this case this is a lot about action phases and action cards and stuff like that, those are the types of mechanics that are in it. But all in all, it's a great game with some really wonderful ratings. Again, pretty much brand new as well, and you can get your hands on it. Ark Nova, my number 3. At number 2, I collectively have escape room / puzzle and riddle solving games such as Exit and Unlock series games. These are absolutely wonderful and some of my favorite games to play because deduction and logical reasoning and all that sort of thing is one of my favorite mechanics to see in games personally. I absolutely adore games that have that. That said, I will say these are one-time use games. A lot of times you have to destroy the boxes and the components in order to make them work for whatever reason. It depends on the exact one that you get, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck. They're pretty inexpensive, so you can get several of them for somebody on your list, or you can get just 1 or 2 as small gifts day by day, whatever it happens to be. The Exit series even has an advent calendar this year that you can get, but both of these also have multi-game packs, so you can get 3 in a box type of thing. It's just, it works really well. You've got a bunch of different difficulty levels for both series so that you can have a nice family game night with younger kids, all the way up to really difficult ones that are better for a more adult game night where you want something a little bit more brain burny. All in all, you've got a wide variety of good games with a fun little story behind them. Unlock / Exit, and in general these kind of escape room games, collectively my number 2. At number 1, I've got Cascadia, this year's winner of the Game of the Year, more commonly known as the Spiel des Jahres, the most coveted and most prestigious award in the board gaming industry. Cascadia is another game similar to Ark Nova, where the idea is that you're trying to create a habitat for animals, where in this case you're doing tile placement along with having the animals come onto them. So this is a great game because it's a little bit more middle of the road in terms of strategic depth. It does have that medium speediness that most gamers crave, but it's not really inaccessible to anybody. Whereas with Arc Nova, it's a lot more complex, and so you can have people who really don't do the brain burny thing, and it can really be painful. But that said, Cascadia is relatively recently widely-ish available and somewhat easy to get. I highly recommend, if you're going to get this for a gamer in your life, do it earlier rather than later, because they're probably going to get sold out relatively quickly. But all in all, it's a wonderful game, looks beautiful, plays beautifully and wonderfully well, and it's a lot of fun, teaches a little bit about conservation like some of the other games here, plus brand new, winner of the most prestigious award, can't really go wrong. Cascadia, my number one. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed my picks for the top 10 giftable board games of 2022. Like I said at the beginning, I tried to go with relatively recent releases or recent updates, as well as, most importantly, games that you can actually get your hands on, because that can be a huge problem, especially in the last couple of years. Now, obviously, I'm very biased, and these are my personal picks because I have my own preferences of game mechanics and things like that, but I honestly feel that the vast majority of them do appeal to a large base of gamers, so anybody in your life who is a gamer and doesn't have these games would probably appreciate them. That said, make sure that you ask them, see if they have a wish list, and just go off of that. And of course, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below, if you have your own personal picks or things that you want from a board game holiday for yourself. If you're doing like a Secret Santa type of thing or things of that nature, just let me know anything and everything. You know I love to hear it all. But that said, thank you so much for joining me. Very happy holidays to all of you. As always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my various social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a bunch of fun ways. But once again, happy holidays, stay safe, be well, and I will see you next time.